And we're back. We are back. Oh, we're so back. I think I have possibly the perfect story to kick off this week with. It fits so many of the people who follow this channel, like to a T. This is one of those things that every time I read this again, I cannot stop fucking laughing. Self-proclaimed, quote, gay furry hackers breach a nuclear lab, demand research into creating IRL cat girls. Just, look, have you heard a better headline, like, in a while? Not gonna lie, that hits, like, very specific, joyous notes. The nuclear research hub, Idaho National Laboratory, confirmed that it fell victim to a data breach on Tuesday. SiegeSec, a group of self-proclaimed, quote, gay furry hackers, took responsibility for the attack and claimed they accessed sensitive employee data like social security numbers, home addresses, and more. We're willing to make a deal with INL. If they research creating IRL cat girls, we will take down this post. That is amazing. I really hope, like, even if it's just some, like, kind of fun paper, there's a non-zero chance, given it's a bunch of furry hackers, that, like, if they actually wrote a research paper into the feasibility of cat girls, they might keep the data sealed. Like, they are probably going to be reasonable. Because when you think gay furry hacker, what you think of is reasonable. You know, just a little guy. Given it's a bunch of furry hackers. Probably a bunch of just little people. I absolutely adore this story, though. Look, they're just asking the real questions, okay? We're all out here arguing over, you know, like, we're trying to convince racists to stop being idiots and trying to convince people that humanity should matter. They're asking the real questions here. Like, that they clearly have their finger on the pulse of the important issues of the day. The hacktivist group SiegeSec conducted a high-profile attack on NATO last month, leaking internal documents as a retaliation against those countries for their attacks on human rights. The group commonly attacks government and affiliated organizations for political reasons, like targeting state governments for passing anti-trans legislation earlier this year. SiegeSec is based. Like, I'm not endorsing crimes. This is not me telling you to go out and do crimes, but, like, SiegeSec is wonderful. God damn it, not again. It is fascinating that, first of all, SiegeSec isn't even the only group of gay furry hackers. Like, the fact that gay furry hacking groups is... If I had a nickel for every time I'd seen a gay furry hacking group, I'd have 15 cents. But still, it's weird that there's at least 3 of them. A spokesman confirmed the breach to Engadget on Wednesday. On Monday, November 20th, INL determined that it was the target of a cybersecurity data breach in a federally approved vendor system outside the lab that supports INL Cloud Human Resource Services. INL has taken immediate action to protect employee data. An INL spokesperson said that the lab has reached out to authorities for help on how to proceed as it determines how to handle the breach, which, reasonable. Clearly what they should have done is gone to the furry community at large and just asked for... Yeah, gay furry hackers got the no-fly list a while back. That, like, there are a number of high-profile cases involving gay furry hacking groups. Can I just say, I understand that there's lots of hate going on, but the fact that that is a sentence that I get to say means this is inherently not the worst timeline. Like, say what you will about the rest of existence and how painful things can be. Gay furry hacking groups are a consistent in this timeline. There are multiple, and they will always be here, and we can rely on them for beauty. Unfortunately, the next article is a lot fucking darker, but it's definitely something that we need to be covering. X is suing Media Matters over reports about ads appearing next to Nazi posts. News of the lawsuit coincided with Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton's announcement of an investigation into Media Matters for possible fraudulent activity, which... Ooh. We need gay furry hackers to get in on this one. They need to start harassing Ken Paxton and X until they drop this bullshit fucking lawsuit. Elon Musk's social media company, X, sued Media Matters for America and one of its staff members over an investigative report the progressive watchdog published saying that Nazi content ran on the X app alongside advertisements from major corporations. News of the lawsuit coincided with Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton's announcement of an investigation into Media Matters for possible fraudulent activity, which is straight up, they think they can bully Media Matters into shutting the fuck up. Like, those things are not happening coincidentally. Texas is desperate to get Tesla's factories. News of the lawsuit, we are examining the issue closely to ensure that the public has not been deceived by the schemes of radical left-wing blah, 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 blah. Fuck you, Paxton. Missouri Attorney General Andrew Bailey said Sunday on X that his team was also looking into the matter. Bailey and Paxton are Republicans. This should surprise fucking no one. Like, the report is not in any way manipulated or photoshopped. It's straight up just a factual analysis of who is being allowed on the platform formerly known as Twitter. I'm not fucking calling it X. And like, yeah, actual Nazi shit is showing up with ads next to it. Tesla's honestly just kind of made as a car company. Honestly, they are worse than that. Tesla has stayed at their boutique, jumped to the market level of production capabilities, even though that hasn't been like useful or competitive for like fucking 5 years at this point. And now we are at a stage where like, if you had said Tesla like a decade ago, or not even like 7 years ago, you know, when the Model S is coming out, yeah, the panel gaps are weird, and yeah, nothing quite fits together. Lots of the electronics can get a little wonky. But there is nothing that they're competing against. They are in a market of one. They create this entire concept of luxury electric vehicles just out of fucking vapor. The problem is, all they had was that idea. They have never grown past the point of like, we have this cool idea. They've got so many pieces that they have yet to like properly implement that they've just fucking abandoned by the side of the road. And their vehicles have a couple party tricks that makes them really easy to sell for a lot of money when you're in a market of one. When you're putting the Model S right next to the Taycan, and you're saying it's worth the exact same amount of money, even though ours is about the same level of acceleration, about the same level of battery charge, and theirs is built like a Porsche, while ours is built like a fucking hobbyist glued it together. Like, Tesla has not been worth the amount of money that they've been charging vehicles for a long time, and it's only getting worse from here. The Model X was the dumbest idea. It was forcing the gull-wing concept into... and nobody wanted it. It doesn't make sense in any context. Like, every time I see a Model X, all I can think of is, oh, so that's like the weird, funky generation they're going to abandon next time, because dear God, does that make zero sense in any real context. Especially now that, like, again, when the Model X came out, what other luxury electric SUV was there? Now it's sitting next to the Ford Mustang, and I don't understand who would look at a Model X and look at the current gen Mustang and pick the fucking Tesla. Like, short of having Elon Musk brainworms, I do not understand why you would pick that. Continuing on with the article, though. The lawsuit, which was filed in federal court in Fort Worth, Texas, sought unspecified damage as well as an order from Media Matters to remove the article. Media Matters president Angelo Carusoni said the website would defend itself. This is a frivolous lawsuit meant to bully X's critics into silence. Media Matters stands behind its reporting and looks forward to winning in court, he said in a statement. The lawsuit is a major escalation of a fight involving Musk, his critics, and X's shaky relationship with advertisers. I'm not sure if they're going to get into it in this, but I honestly think the very first thing that's going to happen in this lawsuit, they're going to challenge in the venue, because Twitter isn't based in Texas. Elon Musk isn't based in Texas personally. Media Matters isn't based in Texas. So there's no fucking reason why the lawsuit should be in Texas. It straight up was put there because that was the easy way to get a bunch of headlines. And you could make Paxton happy. And have Paxton, start digging in at the same time. Give it 2 years. Ford is selling mainstream electric vehicles. There's a number of manufacturers that are realizing, oh, hey, we need to connect them. Tesla's infrastructure is one of the few things that are holding them afloat. And honestly, I cannot wait to see Elon get kicked the fuck out of Tesla. All he did was buy his way in. And however much I would love to say that it's going to be an easy fight out because all he did was buy his way in, it is going to be a big challenge. But the people who own stock in Tesla right now, if enough of them challenge and try to get Elon Musk fired, they can make a change in the company. And apparently there's been a bunch of grumblings of that happening, especially since Elon Musk has sold a bunch of Tesla stock when he bought fucking Twitter. Musk set off a firestorm last Wednesday when he published comments on X embracing a conspiracy theory that many consider anti-Semitic, and Media Matters published its report the next day saying Nazi posts had run next to ads from Apple, IBM, and other companies. It's worth briefly pointing out, this is who Elon Musk is this is his reality. This is the person under the surface. He was pushing last week this he retweeted someone who was pushing the white replacement theory, and he just wrote underneath it, "This is the real truth," which is are you he's gone full fucking face off. Full fucking mask off, not full fucking face off. Wow. Many of those advertisers have paused their spending on X in response to the report. They include Comcast and NBC Universal. Comcast owns NBC Universal, the parent company of NBC News. In the lawsuit, X alleged that Media Matters' portrayal of the app was untrue because its articles did not reflect what typical users see. Media Matters knowingly and maliciously manufactured side-by-side images depicting advertisers' posts on X Corp's social media platform beside neo-Nazi and white nationalist fringe content, and then portrayed these manufactured images as if they were what typical X users experience on the platform. Okay, it's fascinating seeing the very walked back language they are using, because they are very calling the images manufactured. Technically, if I go onto a website and I take a screenshot of that website, I have just manufactured a screenshot. Now, you'll note that I didn't say I manipulated the screenshot. All I did was manufacture it, because that is technically what I did. However, they are not saying that it's manipulated. They're literally just saying, you put this together and this isn't what the average person experiences. So even though it's real, we don't think that this should be in your report. Which, Jesus fucking Christ, that is not how anything works. But that is a very carefully coached language choice there. They are not using the language of you manufactured this. It is straight up, you told people about the things that you could experience on our site, but because we have decided that isn't the typical experience, you just don't get to fucking talk about it. I mean, having been on the platform with an account, that is the user experience. The intention was to harm X's advertising sales, according to this Which, like, this is the other thing that a lot of this conspiratorial bullshit doesn't lead to. Why? This would only make sense if Media Matters owned some kind of competing social media platform that they were like, oh, X is bad, ours is the good one. What? Cui bono? Who the fuck is supposed to be benefiting from like Twitter losing advertisements? Like, the only way that makes sense is if Musk is kind of fucking admitting, look, I have this hateful belief. I have a pile of these hateful beliefs, and I want to be able to share them, and I know that's going to lead to people leaving. So I want to be able to talk about stuff, but if you spread it and try and explain the actual impact of my words, I'm going to fucking go after you. Which is legitimately what how this whole thing is phrased. And I think it's really important that Media Matters is going to, on the one hand, Media Matters is bigger than a lot of other companies and a lot of other charities. And the idea that somebody who is smaller than them would inherently be able to do the same kind of thing, this will scare a lot of the smaller people from making comments about this douchebag. Entirely because they want to reduce the risk of getting sued. And especially for like a lot of the mid-sized platforms, even like some of the stuff that used to be big and is now like dealing with massive shrinkage. Yeah, a lawsuit on that scale could kill you. Remember, winning a lawsuit in that case is like, congratulations, you only have to pay the legal expenses. You're still hundreds of thousands of dollars in the red because your fucking your legal fees, like, they don't get covered automatically. You'd have to sue. You'd have to countersue for the legal fees, and there's a good chance you won't get those. Media Matters, a non-profit website, was founded in 2004 by David Brock, a former right-wing journalist who became a Democrat in the 1990s and is now a political consultant and commentator. The lawsuit also named as a defendant Eric Hananoki, a senior investigative reporter at Media Matters and the author of the article. Hananoki did not immediately respond to a request for comment. The lawsuit made very few specific legal claims. One was that Media Matters, quote, intentionally interfered with contracts between X and its advertisers, which, if they're not a part of the contract, it's not their fucking responsibility. A second was that the website disparaged X with false statements and that it did so with, quote, clear malice, well aware of their falsity. Literally everything that was produced was just straight broadcasted capture from fucking Twitter. None of it was manipulated. And the third was that it unlawfully interfered with business relationships. Yeah, this is straight up just trying to shit on someone who is accurately reporting on the things that are going on Twitter. This is the absolute fucking definition of a slap suit. Under the First Amendment's guarantee of free speech as interpreted by the Supreme Court, plaintiffs who are public figures must prove actual malice by other parties to win claims like defamation. Daxton Stewart, a journalism professor in Texas Christian University and a lawyer, said the lawsuit was frivolous. He also said that although the lawsuit was framed as defending free speech, it would do the opposite by penalizing a website. The huge problem is the First Amendment, Stewart wrote in an email. They're asking a court to order the takedown of clearly protected commentary and trying to escape the obvious First Amendment issues with that by cloaking it in contract interference language that suggests advertisers left the platform because of a Media Matters report rather than, say, their own judgment at seeing what Twitter had become. Which, yeah, that's the big thing. I don't think anyone was leaving because of the fucking Media Matters report. Like, the companies like that do not snap decision. It's not, oh, we have decided to abandon our advertising platform because some report came out last night. These are companies that have boards. These are companies that will have, like, presidents and multiple vice presidents just for marketing. They will have presidents of marketing for specific fucking regions. Like, they will have large, broad infrastructure in place that is fucking slow. when it comes to this stuff. There has to be meetings, there has to be agreements, there has to be minutes that people sign off on. There has to be a vote. Like, this is not something that these companies are just snapping their fingers and doing. But if they can frame it like that, then no one's going to talk shit about what they're actually becoming. Because, well, if you do that, we're just going to fucking sue. The rest of the article's worth a read, but that's the core of the story. This one, I think a lot of folks at home may have experienced part of this story indirectly, because Wednesday, Fox News not only got a story wrong, but reported it in a horrifyingly biased, trying to lean into this is terrorism, we don't know where it's coming from, like all of the most racist bullshit that they normally lean into. But at the same time, just lying. just fucking lying. Yeah, the thing that we're reporting was not real. Fox News has been criticized for speculating that Wednesday's deadly vehicle explosion at a checkpoint on the Rainbow Bridge was a terror attack. Authorities immediately shut down the bridge, which connects Ontario and New York State on either side of Niagara Falls, after a vehicle exploded on the U.S. side of the crossing. According to the U.S. Department of Homeland Security, the Lewiston-Queenston Bridge, Whirlpool Bridge, and Peace Bridge in western New York were also temporarily closed. The car was traveling at high speed and became airborne after hitting a curb, exploding when it hit a checkpoint structure and killing the two people inside, according to law enforcement officials. The White House closely monitored developments, and the Department of Homeland Security said it was in touch with its Canadian counterparts. Which, yeah, some idiot got into an accident. But when the news broke, Fox News speculated that it was an attempted terrorist attack. Correspondent Alexis McAdams initially reported, when I talked to the sources on the ground, they were confident to say they believe that this was an attempted terrorist attack and that the two men were leaving the United States and entering there into Canada. Like, one of two things is going to happen with this story. Option one, McAdams is going to absolutely throw her source under the fucking bus and be like, yeah, this person told me, even though it turned out to be completely not true. Or option two, there is no fucking source. The source, what's that meme? The source is I made it the fuck up. Cause yeah, this was just, it was an accident. Thanksgiving and the time around Thanksgiving has some of the highest rates of drunk driving. There's a lot of family stress. There's a lot of sudden interpersonal connections, sudden social connections that people have to relive by re-interacting with their families again. There's a lot of stress and trauma that get brought up in these times, and because of that, highest incidences of things like drunk driving. If I had to guess, that's most likely what happened here, given the high rate of speed. Probably somebody was inebriated and didn't quite know where they were going. But it's very clearly not this. She also posted to X, formerly Twitter. I love how every time they talk about it, they have to, like, in order for it to make sense to literally anyone, it can't use the name they're trying to use. It's the social media platform formerly known as Twitter. Said earlier Wednesday afternoon, high-level police sources tell me this is an attempted terrorist attack. Sources say the car was full of explosives. Both men inside died. The only part of that is true are the last 4 words. Everything else is just a fucking lie. Yeah, exactly, Shadow, exactly. Honestly, since I'm going to do a couple memes tonight, I think I'm going to try and make McAdams into the senator as one. Following the event, Conservative News Network theorized whether the explosion was related to the war in Gaza or illegal immigration. However, after no explosives or connection to terrorism was found, the explosion was referred to Niagara Falls Police as a traffic investigation, the FBI said Wednesday night. A search of the scene revealed no explosive materials and no terrorism nexus was identified, the FBI in Buffalo said in a statement. The matter has been turned over to the Niagara Falls Police Department in a traffic investigation. High-level police sources tell me this is an attempted terrorist attack. With the fucking added context, that's perfect. I mean, if you count fucking gasoline, yeah. No, that does not count as full of explosives, and no one with a modicum of sense would use that language. Interestingly, I want to see if I can find. Part of me wants to go and find the original video to put on, but the first time they broadcast the bullshit that they're about to go into, they immediately cut from that to how the left wing is trying to inject fake news, and it's just perfectly not understanding your own role in this. Newsweek reached out to Fox News for comment via email Thursday. People have taken to X to criticize the television network, with many calling it irresponsible. I mean, I'm glad we have the First Amendment and freedom of the press, but it should be illegal for Fox News or any major news outlet to claim there's been a terrorist attack without any real evidence. Seems kind of bad for public safety and national security. Yeah, like, at some point we need to have a conversation about the things that our country allows to call itself news. Because on the one hand, I get it, it's the First Amendment, and you have to have a lot of leeway when it comes to this stuff. But the idea that something calling itself news instantly gets believed is wildly problematic, and it ends up affecting huge parts of our society. I don't have a good answer for that. After it was confirmed there were no explosives in the vehicle and that careless driving was to blame for the incident, McAdams started to walk back her initial account. She posted to X, high-level police sources say bomb techs on the scene immediately alerted all authorities that this was an attempted terror attack because they'd never seen a car explosion with a debris field like that before. Bull fucking shit. Like, first of all, anybody who... The idea that, like, oh, it had a giant debris field and therefore it was definitely an explosion. Debris fields, like, gas explosions are these big pressure waves. They're really visually impressive, and a gas explosion of a vehicle will have a giant fucking debris field depending on how the gas is distributed. Like, that is not... That is, like... That's pure bullshit. She is just, like... desperately trying to cling to the idea that somebody's going to forget and move on. All government buildings were evacuated, the bridge was closed, and the airport had heightened security. Also, authorities checked all cars near the airport, looking in the trunks and back seats. Like, this is her just desperately trying to pretend like she's still a credible source. She reported what she was told, but then refused to put what she was told up. Like, it is abundantly clear to anybody who was paying attention that Fox News, the second they hear about anything, their goal is not present the truth. Their goal is not keep their audience informed. Their goal is find things they can use to piss off their audience. They are straight up just a tub of gasoline that are like, no, they look at their customers as little fires and themselves as a fucking gas station, desperately trying to get the customers as big as possible. I'm not entirely sure how that metaphor works, but we're just going to go with it. Like, the fact that Fox News refuses to analyze their own credulity, the fact that they do, not only do they actively not care about the truth, they're not looking to present the truth. They're looking to piss you off. That should tell you everything you need to know about, like, exactly what is targeting us, frankly. Which leads to this next story, which if it wasn't targeting the trans community, it would be fucking hilarious to me, because this is just so stupid. Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade transgender controversy explained. This year, Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade is facing controversy as a conservative group is calling for a boycott over the event's inclusion of queer performers. Earlier this month, conservative group 1 Million Moms launched a petition calling for a boycott of the parade over its opposition to the event's inclusion of 2 non-binary performers. Which, I'm not reading their statement, they can go fuck themselves. Oh, this is not the article that I thought I was reading. this was annoying, don't get me wrong, but there was also a thing with, in the Macy's Day Parade, there was as the last story for this week, Mike Johnson openly is admitting that he would be a sexual predator if given like half a fucking chance. The headline, it says that Mike Johnson says his high school friends would have claimed to be trans to spy on girls. Because he's a fucking creep. Like, the fact that he legitimately thinks this is how people work means this is how he works. He legitimately thinks that the only reason why you don't do that is because people would find out and it would negatively affect you. When, like, no, people just aren't as evil as you are, buddy. Mike Johnson says his high school friends would have claimed to be trans to spy on girls. It's a myth that trans-inclusive restroom policies enable sexual predators, but Speaker of the House Mike Johnson said his high school friends would have taken advantage of them to spy on girls. That's a weird way to spell that your friends would commit felonies to sexually assault women, but okay, Johnson, go off. Johnson made the comments in 2016 after President Barack Obama's administration issued guidelines to schools on equal treatment of trans students under Title IX of the Educational Amendment of 1972, a law that bans sex discrimination in federally funded education programs. The administration, through the Department of Education and Department of Justice, advised schools to allow trans students access to the sports teams, restrooms, locker room, and other single-sex programs and facilities that comport with their gender identity. You know, basic fucking decency. Johnson, then a Louisville senator and state legislator, was appearing on Keel, a news talk radio station in his hometown of Shreveport. This is about the word Shreveport. This makes me think you must be like the waspiest motherfucker on the planet. Like your hometown is Shreveport. I summer in Shreveport, but I winter in Montauk. Host Robert J. Wright said the administration didn't define what it means to be transgender, so anyone can claim a trans identity. A 16-year-old boy, according to Barack Obama and the DOJ, could shower in the DOE, showers in the girls' locker room, Wright said. That's exactly right, and that's the problem, Johnson said. Those terms are vague, blah, blah, blah. Gender identity, gender identity, no one knows what that means. It is painful to me that people who go out of their way to refuse to learn concepts then go on to say that nobody knows them. Like, your willful ignorance should not be policy. My crew, my boys, I mean, look, I can tell you they would have said, hey, next Thursday is Gender Identity Day, man. You know, we're going to self-identify as girls. We're going to be in the other locker room. Like, that isn't how fucking anything works. Studies have shown that trans-inclusive policies do not increase the risk of sexual assaults or harassment of cisgender girls and women. Indeed, trans people are likely to face assaults and harassment when they're not allowed to use restrooms appropriate with their gender identity. Recordings of Johnson's comments have been posted by Midas Touch and other sites. It's just one more example of his homophobia and transphobia. New examples are emerging daily. Yeah, it is so painful to watch people that actively refuse to learn act like that is a common level of understanding. Because on so many levels, it is openly manipulating. Live broadcasting is never a dull moment indeed, especially when you are using... God, just looking down, Mike Johnson has so many fucking articles about him relatively recently. All of them espousing his hateful bullshit.